everyone. So it's Tuesday of the Reading Rush. I was gonna start this vlog yesterday, but yesterday was just a bad day. The kids were fighting a lot, and yeah, so it just wasn't a good day to be vlogging. Sadly though, yesterday was like one of the days we actually got out of the house. So I don't know if that's gonna happen again this week because we don't go out very often. I'm sure I'll have to go to the grocery store to do curbside pickup, but yeah. So might not be the most exciting vlog. We spent a lot of time outside, so the kids are playing at the playground. I don't know if you can see behind me the chickens. You probably can't see them from here. They're back over there. But yeah, so the chickens are hanging out outside. The kids are playing, and that's pretty much what we're doing while I'm reading. I'm reading 2 books right now. Yesterday I finished an audiobook that I had started before the Reading Rush, so I don't know. I only counted like 100 of the pages for the Reading Rush, and I'm not counting it towards any challenges because I had already started it. It's called Time of Our Lives by, I can't remember. It's 2 authors. It's a married couple. I'll put the picture here. And it was like 2 teenagers that are going on college tour, meet each other, and kind of figuring out what they're going to do next in their lives after high school. It was all right. It was pretty average. It was not as good as their other 2 books that I have read by them. And then I started my first Reading Rush books yesterday. I started My Sister the Serial Killer as an ebook. I have the physical book as well, but I've been reading it on my phone. And then I also started the audiobook of The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I'm almost done with The Storied Life. I think I only have 2 hours left of the audiobook, which is less than 2 hours at the speed I'm listening to it. So that should be done soon, and then I'll let you know my feelings about it, because right now I'm still, even with only 2 hours left, still not sure how I feel about that. I'm really enjoying My Sister the Serial Killer though. It's kind of written in vignettes, like little tiny things. I'll show you in the book, but I really enjoy that style, and I'm finding it just really interesting to follow this woman who cleans up after her sister after she kills men, and like see how that resolves. I don't know, maybe there won't be any resolution. It just might be a moment in their lives of this very strange situation. I see her.
I helped her get up onto the green bar, but she did the rest by herself.
The chickens came to this side of the yard, so now you can see. They just hang out while we play. Hey, so it's evening on Tuesday, and I just wanted to give a quick update on my reading. Just so you know, during this vlog, I want to keep this pretty short for the week, so I'm not going to go into big details about these books and my feelings. I'll give kind of my basic feelings and like star ratings and stuff, because I'm probably going to be doing a recent reads on everything I read this week next week anyways, or probably the same week that this vlog is coming out. So I just don't want to go in like super detail and make this a long vlog. So first of all, I finished The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I did listen to this on audio because the audiobook is narrated by Scott Brick, who is one of my favorite audiobook narrators, and I ended up having mixed feelings about this one. I gave it 3 stars because I really enjoyed the first half, and then my enjoyment went really down in the second half, and it just became a little too, I don't know, schmaltzy, a little too Nicholas Sparks for me in the second half of the book. And yeah, I'll talk more details in my review, but yeah, it wasn't, I know this is a beloved book and a lot of people just seem to really enjoy it, and I thought it was fine. There was a lot of great quotes about reading, because this is about a bookstore owner. So yeah, there were some great quotes that I have written down, but probably won't revisit that book because I just didn't like the second half. And then the other book that I am currently reading, like I said before, is My Sister the Serial Killer, and I am about 1/3 of the way through this. And I was saying earlier how these are vignettes, so they're very short chapters. Like, that's not a whole chapter, that's a like, but let me see if I can show you. So that's the beginning of the chapter, and then the next page, and that's it. So they're like a lot of times only 2-page chapters, and I'm loving that. I love how fast it is. So sometimes I can like whip through like 10 chapters at once, and I'm just really enjoying the style of this book. and hoping to finish it tonight or tomorrow. And then in terms of audiobook, when I finished AJ Fikry, I picked up The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and I'm listening to this because I love the audiobooks that are narrated by Hugh Fraser, and I had this book out from the library, but then I ended up getting the audiobook, so I decided to go with that, and I'm, 58 pages into it, but it's not a super long book, so hopefully I'll be finishing this one tomorrow. So far, I'm really enjoying it because I just really love listening to his voice, and it's just the beginning of the mysteries. Somebody has already died, and I mean, obviously it's not a spoiler, Roger has already died, and so we're gonna find out how it happened. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention about the story life of AJ Fikry is that, like I said, there was a lot of quotes on this, and I just found one that I just think is perfect for right now, having to do with authors, and he says, despite the fact that he loves books and owns a bookstore, AJ does not particularly care for writers. He finds them to be unkempt, narcissistic, silly, and generally unpleasant people. He tries to avoid meeting the ones who have written books he loves for fear that they will ruin their books for him. And I think that's just pretty perfect right now because of like all the stuff with J.K. Rowling and her like ruining Harry Potter for a lot of people with her being a horrible person. And reading that, it's exactly how I feel that I feel like a lot of times with social media, there's more of a chance for us to get to know our authors now, and I think there is sometimes a problem in that you might really love the art and the work, but you might not like the person that's behind it, and sometimes I just want to keep them separate. I just don't even want to know about an author and their life because I don't want it to end up ruining a piece of art that I really love and care about, and so I just really enjoyed that quote. Hello, it is Wednesday, and we're once again sitting outside. It's really wet because it rained last night, so I just had to bring I don't know, you probably can't tell. I had to bring a folding chair out because all of the patio furniture is soaking wet. The kids are out playing at the sandbox, just chilling. I'm eating one of my homemade popsicles. This is like my new obsession this summer, is to just make them out of fruit, like no added sugar. So this is just watermelon popsicle, but there's something just delicious about having frozen watermelon that's more exciting than having just a regular slice of watermelon. So I've been making a bunch of them. I have like orange strawberry ones and watermelon raspberry and blueberry ones made with all the blueberries from our blueberry bushes. So just sitting out here eating my popsicle, watching the kids, and listening to The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I have made quite a bit of progress on that. I only have actually an hour left on the audiobook. And yeah, so I've been moving really quickly because I'm just really enjoying it. I've forgotten how much I love listening to Agatha Christie books because, especially I've only listened to ones narrated by Hugh Fraser. I know there's more than one narrator out there. I just love his voice. I'm just finding it completely interesting. I also am really liking this one because it's a Hercule Poirot novel that does not have Hastings in it. If you've never read Poirot, he often has Hastings narrating his stories because it's like his sidekick, kind of like his Watson to his Holmes. But I don't like Hastings. I find him very obnoxious, and I hate their interaction, like he and Poirot, because Poirot always treats Hastings like he's a complete idiot, and I just have never really enjoyed them together. But this one is like taking place in a different place than where some of the other ones I've read. I guess Poirot has gone to retire in this country home, and the guy narrating this one is a doctor from that town. So none of the people are like repeat people from other Poirot books other than Poirot. And so yeah, I'm just enjoying that. So maybe I just need to go through and find all the Poirot books that don't have Hastings in it, because that's probably why I haven't really been enjoying them so much. But this one, I am very much enjoying. You probably just heard like a chicken squawk. Bernadette decided to chase some chickens around the yard. I have no idea why. So I'm just gonna finish my popsicle, finish my hour left of my audiobook, and hopefully my daughter will go to nap soon so that I can get some other reading done and other tasks around the house. It is Thursday morning. I just took my shower, so still wet. And once again, we are outside. And so I'm reading the book that is for the outside prompt. So that is March, book 1. I decided to go with this because it's a graphic novel, or graphic memoir, I should say. And so it is something I could read quickly. And since I don't know how long we're going to be outside because it looks very stormy, well, you can't really tell in this light, but there's a lot of clouds and it looks like it's going to storm today. So I figured I could get this in before we have to go inside. Yeah, but this is pretty much our life. You'll see is that we spend most of the morning playing outside if it's not raining, and then kind of chill in the afternoon, and I do like some cooking or preparing stuff. So yesterday you probably saw my little montage of our time outside, and then me making zucchini bread from the zucchini from our garden. And that's kind of our life right now. We just don't go anywhere because with coronavirus, I just don't think that there's any reason for us to be leaving the house other than to get like curbside groceries. Like, I just don't see any reason for us to be in the mix of possibly spreading or getting or whatever. There's just no point. We have lots of land here. We're lucky enough that we can have activities to do at our home. So yeah, that's what we do. We play outside, we hang out, and then we kind of chill in the afternoon, maybe watch a movie occasionally, cook, clean, do like basic life stuff. So yeah. The kids hear me talking, they want to come. So yeah, I'm gonna go read March and hopefully finish that. And I actually all right, girls, let's go play. Okay, so I wanted to wait until the afternoon when my younger daughter's napping before I tell you my thoughts on the 3 books I finished in the last day. So yesterday I finished 2 more books in the afternoon and evening, and then I finished another one today. And okay, so in the last month, I've had a string of just average reads or books I didn't like that much. I haven't had a 5-star book in a month, and these last 3 books were all 5-star books. So that's really exciting. So I want to talk about them a little bit. I'll talk about them more in detail, like I said, in my recent reads next week. So let me just give you some of my thoughts, because all these are so different. The first one I finished was The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And what I loved about this was the audiobook experience. Like I said, probably the last like 3 clips about this book is that I love Hugh Fraser as a narrator and like his characterizations of all the characters. I loved having this from the viewpoint of someone other than Hastings, which I mentioned before. And I did not see the ending of this coming, actually. It made sense, so it wasn't like sometimes Agatha Christie puts a surprise ending in, you're like, where did that come from? I didn't see any clues about that. But this one made sense, I just didn't put it together ahead of time, so that was really enjoyable. I just found this overall the best Agatha Christie that I have read so far. So I would highly recommend that one. And then the other one I finished late last night was My Sister, the Serial Killer. And this book is hard to explain because I think the problem is its categorization. It doesn't really have a good categorization. So it's put like in the thriller mystery, like I think in the like Goodreads Choice Awards, it was put as a thriller mystery, but it's not really either of those. I would call this more just a dark drama and focused on family issues, sister relationships, and for what it is, like if you don't go into it expecting a typical thriller or a typical mystery plot, I thought this was perfect. Like perfect for what it is. I absolutely loved the entire thing. I loved following our main character, the emotions she goes through of having to take care of her sister's dirty work, like cleaning up after her murders, and just like the background that they went through in their childhood that led to this unhealthy relationship between the 2 sisters and all that, the family dynamics, and her like current feelings about her sister and what her sister's doing and her work life and all that. I don't know. I was just like completely absorbed in her feelings, and this is from her point of view. And yeah, I just adored this book. Just thought it was perfect. And then the last one is the one I was reading today, which is March by John Lewis. And before I finished this book, I was trying to look up to see if John Lewis was still a congressman, because I knew at the time of writing this he was a congressman, but he wrote it back in 2013. and I went to look to see if he was still a congressman, and it turned out he was until he died last week. I didn't even know that John Lewis died last week. I know that I'm not always great at keeping up with our representatives and all that stuff, but him being such a major part of the civil rights movement, I thought it would be more news, and I guess because we are going through so much right now in the world, maybe I just didn't catch it in my news articles. But yeah, he died on July 17th. So that kind of hit me hard in the middle of reading about his life. But I thought this book was so good. This is just part one of, there's 3 of these graphic memoirs. And I've mentioned before that I don't do well with graphic novels, but graphic memoirs like really hit me for some reason. I don't know if it's like the visualization of somebody's life while hearing about it. Something about that just really captures me. And I think it's because of the way he does the storytelling in this. And this one, he's covering his childhood through like the beginning of the civil rights movement, like when he starts doing sit-ins at lunch counters. So it's just covering that first section of his life. And I think because he starts off this kind of narrating his life to 2 young boys, like these 2 boys come to visit him at his office, and he's basically narrating what is involved in this memoir to these 2 boys. And I think that style just worked perfectly for me, like talking to the future of our world, these 2 children, children are our future, and telling his story, the impact of it. And also he starts in his childhood, and in his childhood he talks a lot about him raising chickens, and we are currently raising chickens. So being able to relate that to my kids growing up raising chickens, and him, it actually it sounds silly, but like his childhood on a farm actually led to a lot of the stuff that happened later in his life. And so I just really got sucked in and connected to him at the beginning, and cannot wait to pick up the next 2 volumes. Luckily I have all 3 volumes out from the library. So yeah, 3 5-star books. So The Reading Rush, I'm just like super excited now. I hope that the rest of my week, we're only on Thursday, and I finished 4 books, and 3 of them were 5 stars. So I'm excited. In terms of, if you want to know what challenges, this one was for taking place on a different continent, because it takes place in England and I live in North America. This one was for my birthstone, because my birthstone is emerald and this has green on the cover. And this was for a genre, well, 2 things. This was for a genre that you want to read more of, which is nonfiction, and also for a book you read outside of your home. And I read this all out on my kids' playground while I was watching them play. So yeah, that means I have finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the challenges, only 2 challenges left. So that's pretty exciting. So I did my strength training, so like my planks, push-ups, and squats, and I was gonna do the cardio, but then I realized what time it was, and I just don't think I can get through a whole cardio video and showered before my younger one wakes up from her nap. So I decided to do some sewing. I've been making masks for nursing homes when I have free time, so I put in my audiobook and do masks. So I make 2 different kinds of masks. So the one is like, I don't have an example one finished, so it's like the one with pleats and stuff like that. So right now I've started a bunch, and I have like the 3 pocket, so that I have to like flip inside out. So I'll probably show you a little clip of me flipping it inside out, ironing it, and then I'll like, you sew around it, and then you make the pleats and sew the pleats. And then the audiobook that I am listening to is The Wizard of Oz, or I think the book version is called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. That is for the prompt of a book that you've already seen the movie. Growing up, I watched The Wizard of Oz several times, and I just never had read the book. I started it this morning. Yeah, I started this morning, and I'm loving it so far. I'm not very far in. I'm only a 1/4 of the way in, but I just like the way the writing is. It's very like children's story, whimsical, and it's familiar enough that I'm like getting the nostalgia feeling, but it's a lot different also from the movie, that it's fun kind of seeing where their adventures are leading and what they're encountering along the way, and I'm loving it. So yeah, I'm listening to that while I make these masks. So I was right when I said that she would wake up soon. I only got a few masks done. So now that the kids are up, they're having a little bit of iPad time together before playtime. So this is the time I usually work on some kind of food. Sometimes it's working on dinner, but we're having leftovers tonight, so instead I'm doing some stuff for the freezer. We have a huge freezer in the garage, so I like to make things at a time. One of the things we do every week is make our own pizza, and so I keep pizza sauce in the freezer. I use it from this amazing freezer book. I highly suggest this. She also has a blog. I'll put it down below. I do a lot of meals from this. And so she has a 30-minute pizza sauce, and I always double it, which makes about, let's see, 8 cups of pizza sauce. I separate it into 1 cup baggies in the freezer. So that's 8 pizza meals, which is 2 months of pizza. So I'm a little over halfway through The Wizard of Oz. Goodreads said I'm at 60% through this edition, and something really surprised me. This would be a spoiler if you don't want to know when certain events happen in the book. Like, this is something that happened in the movie, so if you've seen the movie, you know this is coming. But if you don't want to know when it happens in the book, then skip to the timestamp I put here. So it's just spoilers for that. And if you've never seen the movie or read the book, then it would be spoilers. So skip to that. But the thing that surprised me was that the Wicked Witch dies really early in this. Like, basically, at the point where I'm at, she has died. So it just seems like from my recollection of the movie, it felt like she was much bigger of a part in the movie, and like kind of like the big bad. And yes, there's all the stuff that comes after that in the movie, like them going back to Oz and talking to the wizard and finding out about him and all that. But like, I just expected her to be a bigger part of the book. And yeah, like she had barely just been introduced like the chapter before, and then she dies. Like, you know, Dorothy kills her, just like in the movie. But I'm like, that is super early. I expected there to be more conflict there. So it just surprised me. This book is, I guess, is just traveling a little faster than the movie. And like, the movie must have just used the Wicked Witch as the big bad. But that is not the case in the book. The book is more about the traveling and the group becoming friends, like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and Lion and Dorothy becoming a unit and them helping each other and stuff like that. That would be more of the focus, I believe this is, than them like being, you know, scared by the Wicked Witch and, you know, finding her and killing her and all stuff. Like, that's definitely not the focus of the book at all. So it just surprised me a bit. I do need to rewatch the movie, because maybe she's just such an icon in my mind that I think she's in it more. But I do feel like the witch is in it more than in the book. So I should verify that with the movie at some point. All right, so it's Thursday evening, and I think what I want to do, since I want to keep these vlogs short, is I'm going to end after this clip and then do a weekend reading rush vlog. But I have accomplished 6 of the 7 of the challenges, so I'm feeling really good. So my next vlog will have all the vlog challenges, and I don't know if I'm going to do a separate of the tag, or I'm just going to put it in that vlog. We'll see. And I'll probably still read things from my TBR. I just had a lot of options for each of the prompts, but all of those were books I want to read, so maybe I'll just keep reading more off of that thing. So it's the evening. My kids have been given baths just now. I put the youngest one to bed. My husband's putting the older one to bed. So I'm about to do my workout, and I think I have to do a Kroger order. Yeah, because we're going to pick up groceries in the morning, and then that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll read before bed, or maybe I'll just watch TV, because 6 challenges accomplished. I might just like not do any more reading for the rest of the night. So right before I finish this, I just want to finish off saying what my last challenge was. I did finish Wizard of Oz while I was getting ready for dinner and all that stuff. The audiobook was like 4 hours long, so yeah, I read this all in one day, but at 1.25 speed, and it only being 4 hours total, it went by pretty quickly. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it stands alone, like, as a good story, separate from the movie, because the movie is a lot different. But I didn't give it a full 5 stars because I think that the movie made the right decision ending it where it did, where this kind of has a whole ending that, like I was saying, if you watch the last clip with the spoilers, something big happens at like 60%. And so the last 40% was kind of like coming down off of the climax. And yeah, like it was a very long resolution, a little more than it needed to be. And I think that might have just been part of the style of the times. So I don't like blame it. I don't think it was bad. I still think it's a solid story for children to enjoy. I'm definitely going to read this with my kids when they get a little older, because there's a lot of chopping off of heads. I know that sounds random, but it's like, you know, they encounter a scary cat along the way and they chop off his head. They encounter something else like coming at them. I can't remember what all is attacking them from the Wicked Witch, and they cut off their heads. So there's a lot of chopping off the heads. So I just feel like my kids aren't really ready for that yet. So when they get to elementary school and can like maybe not be scared about that and realize it's fantasy, then I would like to read this to them, because I think it was a really nice, sweet story about friendship and, you know, finding what your purpose is and where you belong and having confidence in your abilities and all that stuff, like in terms of courage and brains and heart and all those things, and what is home. And yeah, I do think it's a nice story. 4 stars. So, and this was the challenge for a book that you've already watched the movie. So 6 challenges done. The only book I have to read to fulfill all the challenges is Clap When You Land, which was the first book I had touched in my TBR video. So that one will definitely get done because it's only a 5-hour audiobook. So that'll happen this weekend. So if you want to see my thoughts on that, check out my next vlog, which will come out, I'm sure, like on Monday when the reading rush is done. I hope you guys are enjoying your reading rush week as well. Bye!